Good morning, and this is Christine Waddell preparing to read to you this week's Neepawa Press, February 1st, 2017. And it's good to be back on the air with things, and welcome to our viewers on WCG Channel 12, MTS 30, and Bell 592. And those who are able to access us online as well, we appreciate your viewership and any contributions you can make. So let's get on with reading the press. Helping kids to hit the ice. Owen Devereaux was on hand to cover the story of the first shift. It's a national program has arrived in Neepawa that's looking to get more kids playing hockey. On Saturday, January 28th at the Yellowhead Hall, 29 children, 16 boys, 13 girls, between the ages of 6 and 10 years of age, were fitted with a full set of hockey equipment as part of the Canadian Tire First Shift program. Participants paid $199 to get the gear, which included skates, shoulder and shin pads, pants, a helmet, and stick. As well, the youngsters will receive 6 separate hour-long instruction sessions to teach them the fundamentals of the game. First Shift West Coast team field manager Jonathan Blaise said the program's goal is to break down barriers that exist for many families. There can be some barriers for families initially getting involved with the game for one reason or another. What First Shift is trying to do is break down those barriers, said Blaise. We are trying to make hockey fun, safe, and affordable, ensuring those who want to learn the game can. The Neepawa Minor Hockey Association applied to participate in First Shift last year. On Saturday, the 29 families who signed up to participate had their children fitted head to toe with new Bauer hockey equipment. Association President Jason Sumner said this program allowing those families a chance to see if their kids are serious about the game without forcing them to absorb the expensive initial investment. First Shift really helps to introduce new families to the game of hockey in a great way. Sometimes families can be a little unable or unwilling to spend the money to first get started because the initial cost can add up, noted Sumner. This simplifies the process and introduces the kids and the parents to local minor hockey programs and proper instruction without requiring that big initial investment. If the kids fall in love with the game, that's great. If not, then the families put in a reasonable early investment to find out. It's a positive for everyone. The photo on the front page is this youngster was one of 29 children between the ages of 6 and 10 to get involved. The National Learn to Play program was in Neepawa at the Yellowhead Hall on Saturday. And it was great fun watching them. And the story continues on page 7. And I didn't even check to see if my pages were in order. Those of you who wondered the strange look of the paper, these are proof pages, which we started using when the road conditions made it very, very difficult to get the paper back, and we were late one week. And so rather than mess with the schedule on NAC TV, we did use the proof pages from the newspaper office. And so there is another photograph that Owen Devereaux took, and several equipment stations were set up at the Yellowhead Hall to assist with fitting of items such as helmets during the First Shift program. The West Coast coordinator, Blaise, added that the retention numbers on a national level have been extremely positive, as between 85 and 90% of youth who participate in First Shift continue to play the game 1 or 2 years later. He said those results are very encouraging. The kids seem to be enjoying the game and staying with it, which is what First Shift is all about. It's gratifying to see these young people picking up the game and falling in love with the sport for years to come. Sports like hockey are a great way for youth to learn important lessons such as teamwork, responsibility, and camaraderie. These are valuable life lessons that they can use off the ice as well. The first on-ice session for the first shift participants will take place in mid-February. We know there's some good things in this week's paper. They're featured on the front page. As usual, are looking back, some more sports. And continuing with where are they now. But let's look at Cecil Pittman's Neepawa Press, looking back. 1967, Tomboy Store is open for business. 50 years ago, while Mayor George Ray, on the left, assists Reg Williams, cuts the ribbon to officially open the Neepawa Tomboy Store. And that store is located at the corner of Mountain and Hamilton, right across from Home Hardware and Dollar Store for more. And it's time for continuing businesses. 70 years ago, a delegation composed of W.A. Howden, DMD George Ray, and C.T. Pedler presented petitions containing 130 signatures asking the council to submit a money bylaw to the ratepayers of the town to cover the cost of the construction of a modern, up-to-date 50-bed hospital on the present hospital grounds. In 1957, in February 7th, 60 years ago, Edward Smee of Neepawa, provincial chairman of CCF, and the local constituency members of the party are planning an act to complain of organizations throughout the district. Political activity is nothing new. And just 10 years ago, in 2007, Neepawa will lose the services of one physician when Dr. Johann Robenheimer closes his practice at Neepawa District Medical Clinic in April. Robenheimer has been with the clinic since 2002. His departure will leave the town with 5 practicing physicians. Not that bad of a position to be in, said the CEO of Assiniboine Regional Health Authority. In the immediate short term, this shouldn't create a problem for the patient care, Penny Gilson said. And on page 2, there's an encouragement to those in the reading area to share your favorite Disney moment to get free vouchers to attend Disney on Ice. And you can contact the Neepawa Press or Neepawa Banner office and have the possibility of winning tickets to Disney on Ice. Thumbs up, thumbs down on page 3, the opinion page. A big thumbs up to the Minnedosa Lions Club for presenting the show Saturday 28th at the Hop. What a wonderful 3 hours of musical memories. That show was fantastic. And that's Betty Lynn Strong from Neepawa gave us that thumbs up. And we encourage readers and from the area to tell us of good or perhaps not so good things that are happening. The other opinion pieces are more not quite as local, so we'll just leave those for later if we have time. My Neepawa, we have a beautiful watercolor photo that was sent, or watercolor picture that was sent in by Gail Short. At the end of August, Gail Short of Vernon, BC was visiting her friend, Neepawa resident Diane Henderson. Short wondered why there were postcards at of the cemetery at the Margaret Lawrence Home Museum, and Henderson told her about the location's beauty. They then went to the cemetery where Short, an artist, took lots of pictures. Those photos form the basis of this painting of Riverside Cemetery. And she wisely on her painting included, Neepawa Cemetery has become a tourist site. Anyone who pays for perpetual care has a beautiful bed of petunias over their site in a stunningly beautiful space with lots of trees and grass, all very well cared for. And that's a note from Gail Short. Another community event that's coming up, and this, we don't always read advertisements, but this is for the Community Foundation, and that's the NHL hat auction, and it's a major fundraiser for the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation, and that's February 11th. And contact the foundation office for tickets to that. And there's they watch a hockey game, and there's an auction for hockey team hats and potential prizes in that. So it's always a good fundraiser. Now to some sports, and I know it was a busy weekend for sports in Neepawa. The week in review at the Yellowhead Center, Neepawa Natives. Selkirk Steelers 4, Neepawa Natives 5. With the Selkirk Steelers out shooting the Natives 52-41, we still came up as winners. And on Sunday, January 29th at the Yellowhead Center, Winkler Flyers 4, Neepawa Natives 3. Shots for the Winkler Flyers 32, Neepawa Natives 23 shots on goal. And they just came up a goal short. And we had good attendance at those games, and there's a little more coverage in other pages. And our NACI Tigers defeaed Souris Sabres. The picture there of some rallying around the goaltender. The NACI Tigers pressured the Souris goal throughout the game, ultimately leading in an impressive 6-1 win over the Sabres on Friday, January 27th. Owen Devereaux continues, a pair of wins has helped the Tigers hockey team climb back into the top tier of Westman High School Hockey League standings. The Tigers first claimed a solid 3-1 victory in Brandon on Thursday against the Crocus Plainsmen. They followed that up the next night at home with an impressive 6-1 decision over the Souris Reston Sabres. During the road games at Enns Brothers Arena, Neepawa's Will and Ben Ranka, along with Baron Mitchler, scored for the Tigers to secure the victory. The next night, NACI returned home to the Yellowhead Center to face the challenge of the Sabres. Baron Mitchler opened up the scoring near the midpoint of the period. Souris would tie things at 1-1, but before the end of the first, NACI reclaimed the lead as Will Ranka put away a power play marker with just 6 seconds left in the opening period. After Neepawa took a 3-1 lead early in the second, both teams started getting a lot more physical and at times very chippy in their level of play. This caused both sides to start taking a few liberties out there on the ice. The officials were having no part of that, however, calling a grand total of 18 penalties between the two clubs, with Souris receiving the worst of it as at a combined 46 penalty minutes accumulated. Part of that included a major penalty and ejection for Sabres goaltender Dane Fortin in the third period. This allowed the Tigers a chance to put away 3 additional goals in the third, including a pair on the power play to ensure the 6-1 victory. Will Ranka had a pair of goals, while Brady McLeod, Baron Mitchler, Brennan Weave, and Ben Ranka all added singles for the win. These most recent wins push NACI into 7th place in the standings with a 9-6-4 record. The next home game for the Tigers is Wednesday, February 1st, against the Crocus Plainsmen. They'll follow that up with another game on Friday, this time versus the Killarney Raiders. The start time for both those games at the Yellowhead Arena is set for 7:15. NACI athletic results. There's more than hockey at the high school. Monday, January 23rd, varsity basketball. William Morton Warriors from Gladstone, 73. Neepawa Tigers, 55. On the boys' side, Wednesday, January 25th, varsity basketball. Girls, Neepawa Tigers, 70. Carberry Cougars, 47. Thursday, January 26th, varsity basketball boys, Neepawa Tigers 67 versus 16 for the Carberry Cougars. The girls, Neepawa Tigers 57, 15 for the Carberry Cougars. And again, regarding, it's an ad, but it's a local important organization that is nonprofit and for the good of the community, is the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation grant applications time of year, and those grant deadline application is for March 31st. And they've got a picture from last year. One of the recipients was Neepawa Nursery School, and they've used those funds. The Beautiful Plains Community Foundation encompasses the town of Neepawa, the RM of Glenella Lansdowne, the RM of Rosedale, and the area formerly known as the RM of Langford and the village of Brookdale. Nonprofit organizations may apply for grants for general operations, capital purchases, and special projects. Grant applications are available on the BPCF website and at the Neepawa Public Library and the BPCF office. And again, those deadlines are, the deadline is March 31st. We'll leave Where Are They Now for just a little later and continue on with some sports. The Farmers men's senior hockey team claimed top spot in the Tiger Hills Hockey League Eastern Division. Story by Owen Devereaux. The Neepawa Farmers have locked up the Tiger Hills Hockey League's Eastern Division title and a first-round playoff bye. The team was able to clinch the honor with an 8-2 win over the McGregor Wild, combined with a Minnedosa loss on Friday, January 27th. The Farmers jumped out to a comfortable lead early on by scoring 6 goals in the first period, with Matt Lowry potting a hat trick in the opening frame. Rhett Law, Cam Tibbett, and Garrett Rempel scored the other goals, providing Neepawa with a 6-0 cushion in the second. McGregor put away a pair as Dalen Roy and Kelly Rintoul scored for the Wild. Lowry countered with his 4th goal of the night and the 42nd point of the season. 23 goals and 19 assists. In the third, Ward Susky, 7 goals, 17 assists, added 1 more to make the final score 8-2. The next night, the Farmers met the toughest challenge of the season as they traveled to Killarney to meet the undefeated defending league champions, the Shamrocks. Neepawa put in a solid effort but couldn't overcome the Western Division's best team as they fell 5-1. Tyler Fenning-Cox scored the only goal of the evening for the Farmers, who ended the season with an impressive 13-5-0 record. Killarney, meanwhile, finished their perfect regular season at 17, no losses, no ties. As for individual stats, Matt Lowry finished 4th in the league, scoring with 42 points. Isaac Friesen of Killarney won the scoring crown with 48 points, 15 goals and 33 assists. Other Farmers who ended the season with strong numbers were Cam Tibbett, 12 goals, 19 assists, 31 points in 17 games, and Ward Susky, 17 goals, 17 assists, 24 points in 14 games. Neepawa has now earned a first-round bye and await their opponent for the Tiger Hills Hockey League quarterfinals. And on the back page of the paper is a really nice photograph of the Natives alumni return for historic hockey night. Former members of the Neepawa Natives Junior A hockey team gathered at the Yellowhead Center on Saturday, January 28th to help the club commemorate their 1500th game in the Manitoba Junior Hockey League. Left to right, Miles Cathcart, Travis Lang, Corey Smith, Steve Vasco, Mike Andrews, Jeff Hume, Jim Milan, Scott Elder, Neil Gillies, and Lawrence Cathcart. As for the current team, they did their job in ensuring the night was a special one with a 5-4 win over the Selkirk Steelers. The community snow sculpture competition being sponsored by the town in conjunction with Neepawa's Winter Wonderland Festival on Riel Day as is promoting it, and that's another non-profit event that should bring lots of color and fun. It's the Neepawa Winter Wonderland Festival snow sculpture competition with prizes for best residential, best business organization, best overall. Locations such as residences, businesses, and organizations located in the town. You must register your location by calling Amanda at 204-476-7614, and 10 locations must be registered or the event will be canceled. The sculpting dates are February 10th to 19th. Sculpture must be completely made from ice or snow. You can build to any height or dimension. Be creative, but be safe. No supporting structures can be utilized. Please do not use toxic paint. Food coloring is recommended. Judging begins at noon on Sunday, February 19th. Teams will be judged on originality, attention to detail, overall appeal, with a total of 60 points possible. Winners to be announced at the Winter Wonderland Festival at the Flats on February 20th at 2 p.m. And here's the Arts Forward and the town are sponsors of that event. I certainly look forward to seeing some really good snow sculptures. We've got the materials to work with for that. Where are they now? And this is more material from Rick Sparling that he has given to us at the Neepawa Press. The 1956, 57, and 57, 58 cheerleaders. And he has photographs of Edna Sinclair, Elaine Dunn, Gail Strock, Linda Callahan, Marlene McGregor, Lynn Russell, and Roberta George. These 6 girls were part of both the 1956, 57, and 1957, 58 cheerleading squads. Roberta George only took part for the 56, 57 year. So where are they now? Edna Sinclair attended teacher's school after graduating from NACI and taught school for 2 years before taking a secretarial job with Simplot in Brandon. She worked at Simplot for 33 years. She married Rod Kleckner in 1969, and both of them retired in 1999. They moved to Medicine Hat, Alberta in 2005, where they currently reside. Edna has 2 stepchildren, 6 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. Elaine Dunn moved back to Salzgirt to complete her schooling. In 1963, she married Al Yaskew and lived in Oak Lake, where Al taught school. They moved to the Paw, where Al was appointed superintendent of Kelsey School Division. They raised 4 children there. Both Elaine and her husband have passed away. Gail Strock lives in Sherway Park, Alberta, and has been married to Jim Gilberts for 48 years. They have 4 children, Chris, 42, Andrew, 40, Michelle, 39, and Heather, 38. They also have 3 grandchildren, Kendra, Abby, and Damon, and according to Gail, they are the best grandchildren ever. Linda Callahan graduated from NACI in 1962 and trained as a laboratory technologist at St. Boniface Hospital in Winnipeg. She moved to Alberta in 1967 and has lived in Edmonton since 1985. She happily retired from the Provincial Laboratory of Public Health in 2008. Marlene McGregor married Barry Anderson in 1962 after graduating from NACI. They lived in Colorado Springs until Barry graduated from the university there with a Bachelor of Science degree in 1964. And they moved to Carberry, where Barry taught school. Marlene started a cooperative nursery school program in 1976 and was teacher of the Carberry Child Care Cooperative. Marlene retired in 2001 but continues to sub at the elementary school. She has had a lifelong passion with figure skating and belonged to the Carberry and Brandon skating clubs and competed at the local level and was on the board of the national figure skating body. The Andersons have 3 children and 4 wonderful grandkids. They have retired in Carberry and enjoy their Clear Lake cabin in the summer. Lynn Russell moved to Winnipeg to take a special course at Isaac Brock. Following graduation, she moved to Brandon to work for Dr. Krzyzanowski. The doctor traveled back and forth from Neepawa to Brandon in those days. Lynn married Clifford Foreman in 1966, and they moved to the West Coast, where she worked for a dentist there for a couple of years until she had their son, at which time she became a stay-at-home mom. They have retired to French Creek, BC, and have 2 grandchildren. Lynn enjoys painting watercolors for a hobby. Roberta George went to West Park School through to grade 8, then into NACI, where she met Dick Prodzik. The family moved to Winnipeg in 1961, and Bobby made her way back and forth to Neepawa most weekends. She graduated in 1962, and she and Dick married in 1966. They moved out to Hamliota in Manitoba and purchased a small farm and raised their 3 children there. From Viscount Vision's yearbook, the West Park Bandom Double B banquet was held in the banquet room in the Royal Cafe, presided by Homer Gill, with about 60 people in attendance. The players' parents, Mayor William Whitmore, Principal Miss Ruth Farron, and other teachers and their wives and coaches and their wives, as well as the West Park School cheerleaders. The cheerleaders gave a peppery performance and drew a fine round of applause from the gathering. The West Park School cheerleaders appeared for every home game the Bantams played here, and the majority of the games away from home. Tony Evans provided the transportation for the road games. In a game played versus Dauphin at the local sports arena, a feature of the minor hockey game was the sparkling performances of the local grade 8 girl cheerleaders. At a Crandall, Manitoba road game, the West Park School cheerleaders group again made a road trip with the Bantams, and their display on the ice made a big hit with the crowd. And a note, the article featuring the 1960-61 Double B team appeared January 11th, 2017 in the Neepawa Press, and noted that Harvey Martin had passed away in 2008. In fact, he passed away in 2014. So that was a date correction, and we appreciate the accuracy. From the opinion page, views from Parliament Hill, and this is a letter from Member of Parliament for Dauphin Swan River, Neepawa, Robert Sopak. Negotiating with President Trump. Canada's unique relationship with the United States is being tested since President Donald Trump was inaugurated on January 20th. As the world's largest trade partners, we need to continue the nearly 150-year-old relationship and work to ensure the efficient and continuous free flow of goods over our borders. In light of President Trump's unyielding America First policy, we need the Liberal government to remain vigilant in ensuring that Canada's interests are protected each and every day. $2 billion in trade crosses the Canada-US border, benefiting both countries. In fact, 9 million US jobs depend on trade with us. Both of our countries need those jobs, and our government must fight to protect free trade every step of the way. President Trump has already withdrawn from the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement and began the steps towards renegotiating the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA. For some reason, the first thing Justin Trudeau told President Trump was that we were still willing to renegotiate NAFTA. This was a poor concession to make, especially given that most of Trump's concerns are with their southern neighbor, not Canada. In Canada, we have added 4.7 million new jobs since NAFTA came into force in 1994. It is imperative that Prime Minister Trudeau protects and defends Canada's interests during the renegotiation that he haphazardly agreed to after the US election. As the official opposition, it is deeply concerning that the government does not have a plan to protect the jobs that are created by NAFTA, including 550,000 auto sector jobs and 211,000 aerospace jobs. I was pleased to see Prime Minister Trudeau share his support following President Trump's signing of the executive order to approve the Keystone XL pipeline. This project was strongly supported by our previous Conservative government. Stephen Harper understood the importance of this pipeline to both countries and even predicted the pipeline would be built with or without Obama, which came true with the first week under President Trump. If it moves forward, the project will strengthen energy security in North America and put Canadian energy workers back on the job. Meanwhile, though, we are still waiting for a new softwood lumber agreement. The forestry industry supports 400,000 workers and the economic survival of 650 communities, including some in our own constituency. Without a new agreement being reached, we risk action being taken against Canadian softwood imports and the entire forest industry losing thousands of jobs and paying billions of dollars in duties again. Given the new attitude from the new U.S. administration, Canada needs to get out ahead of this issue and protect Canadian jobs. Our constituency relies on trade with the U.S. daily across the agricultural, livestock, oil, and forest industries. It is important that the Liberal government approaches any trade negotiations with the U.S. with the mindset of Canada first, or risk being run over by a president who has made it clear any new deals have to benefit the U.S. free trade between our nations. President has made it clear any new deals have to benefit the U.S. Free trade between our countries benefit both countries, and the Liberals must remember to consistently make that point at the negotiations table. And again, that was from the Member of Parliament, Robert Sopak. A letter to the editor. Snowman, Snowmobilers of Manitoba, Incorporated in the Canadian Council of Snowmobile Organizations, CCSO, remind riders to keep nature beautiful as we celebrate National Snowmobiling Environment Month during February. through the Snowmobile Responsibly campaign introduced by CCSO. Snowman encourages everyone to take personal responsibility pardon me, to take personal responsibility for his or her decisions and actions on the snow this winter. Every day, riders make many important snowmobile-related decisions that can impact their personal well-being, that of others, and that of the natural settings in which they ride, said Yvonne Rideout, Executive Director of Snowman. Decisions should be based on obeying applicable laws and rules, using good common sense, riding with care and control, and making smart choices. Some of the key messages touted by snowmobile organizations are respect for sensitive areas, stay on the trail, protect wildlife, embrace new technology, maintain your sled, and leave tracks, not trash. Snowmobiling is a good news story because snowmobiles have improved continuously thanks to oil injection, sound reduction measures, variable height exhaust valves, direct injection onboard computers, and new 2-stroke and 4-stroke engine technology that comply with EPA requirements, said Alan Butler, president of Snowman. We asked snowmobilers to refrain from using aftermarket pipes that increase noise and annoy others. Keeping nature beautiful during each and every ride depends primarily on the personal decisions and actions of each rider, so choose to snowmobile responsibly this winter. Snowman Inc. is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to providing strong leadership and support to its member clubs to develop safe and environmentally responsible snowmobile trails to further the enjoyment of organized recreational snowmobiling in Manitoba. There's one more story that I'm going to share with you, submitted by Manitoba Crime Stoppers, and then after I've read that, there is a letter from the NSCTV board that has been circulated in the community. So first, from the press. January was Crime Stoppers Month. Each year, Crime Stoppers programs around the world celebrate Crime Stoppers Month in January to highlight successes and promote their crime-fighting initiatives. Crime Stoppers is a global organization working in partnership with the community, media, and law enforcement to help stop, solve, and prevent crime worldwide. Since its establishment in 1976, more than $10 billion in drugs and property have been recovered, and more than 1 million arrests have been made. Crime Stoppers helps to solve a crime every 14 minutes of every day somewhere in the world. The Crime Stoppers tip line is staffed by trained personnel who receive, process, and pass on tip information to investigating officers. Callers will never have to identify themselves. A reward of up to $2,000 is offered to anyone providing information which leads to an arrest for a crime. Rewards may also be made for information leading to the recovery of stolen property, the seizure of illegal drugs, or an arrest on an outstanding warrant. There are 3 ways to contact Manitoba Crime Stoppers and provide information anonymously on any unsolved crime in rural Manitoba. Call the toll-free line at 1-800-222-8487, TIPS. That's 1-800-222-TIPS, TIPS. Submit a secure tip online at www.manitobacrimestoppers.com or Tipman, TIPMAN, plus your message to crimes 247637. And now I would like to share the letter which has been circulated to our businesses from NACTV. At the bottom are signatures of Ken Waddell for the management team, Jean Borkart fundraising chairperson, and our office manager, Nikki Meiker. For NACTV, 2017 will be a year of change and growth. On November 28th, NACTV bid farewell to Ivan Trail after nearly 4 decades with our local TV station. Ivan has generously offered to volunteer from time to time, especially with tech support and training. The NACTV board received presentations from those interested in helping us go forward with NACTV. The board made the decision to accept the presentation made by Neepawa Banner Management Group headed by Ken Waddell and Kate Jackman Atkinson. Their plan involves other members of the Banner staff, an NACTV employee, and numerous volunteers to operate the office, the station's technical equipment and training volunteers. As in previous years, we need the support of businesses, service clubs, churches, and the community as a whole. I am sure you agree we've done a great job of providing programs of interest to our community. Expanding our broadcast area has brought us great reviews and calls from those who are able to receive our station through Bell Express View, MTS 30, Channel 12, and now online around the world. With changeover, we've had a few glitches, and it's getting better, so we ask you to bear with us. The bottom line is, if we don't find financial support, we will not be able to continue operating NACTV. The management group is trying to recruit volunteers to help us with taping the hockey and curling, baseball, and covering other activities which community enjoys. This past Christmas, you'll notice we continue to see that the school's Christmas programs were broadcast. We can't thank those people who gave of their time and effort and stepped forward to take a camera and do this for us. That's teamwork. We're doing about 12 to 15 hours a week of new original programming. Our major fundraising campaign will begin in February and will conclude with a showcase of talent on Thursday, March 9th, beginning at 7 p.m. at the Roxy Theatre. If you know of someone who has talent, we're asking you to help us make contact and get them to drop in the station and pick up a registration form and pledge sheet. Our new office manager is Nikki Meiker, and she can be reached at 476-2639 or nactv@wcgwave.ca or at our station on Mountain Avenue across from the Bank of Montreal, just up the stairs and to your left there's a sign, newsroom. Or you can contact me, Jean Borkart, at jeanalvin, JeanAlvin 1934 at gmail.com or 476-2295, and notify me of what your donation will be, and I will issue a receipt and pick up your donation. We cannot say enough about how much we appreciate your support over the years. The success of our station is because we can count on you for support. And so thank you sincerely, Ken Waddell, Jean Borkart, and Nikki Meiker. So if you know someone who has talent and would like to participate in that annual fundraiser, that would be great. It's always a good night. The entertainment goes on live, but there's also an opportunity to have your programming taped and included in the evening by way of a pre-taped presentation. If you have a large group, have a large complex way of presenting something, sometimes pre-taping is best if it can be organized. So contact our office, and we look forward to that evening, and we thank you for all of your support in the past. We look forward to serving you in the future, and for this week, from the Neepawa Press and NACTV, thank you for viewing.